How you feeling? How you feeling?
I called the doctor and they said to get a normal test.
Alright.
So at 2.
Alright, I'm starting my live stream now.
I'll be able to get out or I'm going to need to move the car.
You have to move my car. Hey everybody. Welcome to my Fab Fit Friday that is sort of crushed right onto the end of my Break Your Surgery Out of the Box class I taught for stitches. I literally just got out of class, so I apologize that I'm a few minutes late. So what I'm going to do today, I didn't want to cancel because I really love doing live streams with you guys. And I have this fun thing I'm going to try today. As you know, I do private one-on-one Zoom fittings, and I'm really sort of stubborn in my view that if I'm going to help somebody fit something like a pair of pants, I'm not going to give up until they're fit properly. And a lot of times it goes very smoothly. I mean, I've been fitting pants and working with students, and generally it takes a couple weeks of back and forth, or even my last student, I mean, we finished in a couple days. So sometimes it goes really smoothly, but I do have this one student where we're really close. I mean, we have a really nice pattern, but there's a little bit of extra length on the back leg under her butt that she really wants to get rid of, and I'm on a mission. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how I'm going to use, I purchased some of this tape. This is a tape measure, but it's actually a sticker. So it's like stickable measuring tape. See? And I'm going to show you how I'm going to use this to try something a little bit different with this pattern. And because I'm doing this, I was getting ready for my class, and honestly, I didn't prep, so we're going to have to trace the pattern in addition to showing you what I'm going to do. So, I'm sorry. Hi, Janie. How are you? I think it's just you and me. I mean, it says there's like 5 people watching, but I am a little bit late because I was getting out of class. Let me switch my view here. All right, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to trace, I'm working with my Stretch Jeans Made Easy, and I am going to trace the front and back leg. And I'm only tracing to the I'm only going to trace to the knee. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pattern sort of under here like this, so I can trace it. Hi, Isha. Oh, Isha says, definitely one of my issues also excess under my butt. I have fixed several pairs of pants, but the more fitted pants is more difficult for me. Yeah, this is like one of these things where I'm literally, I'm going to figure it out. So what I'm going to do here is I am lining up the grid on this paper with the grain line. I'm just going to make it a little bit darker here so you can see. There we go. Hold on. Let me just change my... There, I think that's okay. Maybe if I make it... Alright. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly trace, and I'm going to trace the size 18, and I'm lining up the grid on my paper with that. And so I'm basically going to just, I'm only going to go to the knee here. Okay, so I'm tracing the green line. And I'm tracing the size 16. I'm sorry, the size 18 here. All right. Okay, and when I get to where the front pocket is, up here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue my line straight across. And I'm going to continue it up like this, because I don't want to have any front pocket in my muslin. Oh, Isha says the front thigh measurement, the front thigh adjustment was a game changer. Oh, I'm so happy that worked for you. All right, so this is going to be the size 18. Okay, and I'm just going to flip the paper over and I'm going to trace the back. I'm really sorry that I don't have this traced. Okay, so, alright, let me just trace this. And again, I'm lining up the grid on the paper with the grain line. Okay. Hi, Diane. Your YouTube wouldn't show you live till now. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I was also a few minutes late, and actually you haven't missed anything, because all I'm doing is tracing my pattern. I think my YouTube knew I wasn't ready. I was teaching a stitches class, and I got done at 1 o'clock, so I had to hurry up and get off that to start this. Okay, so all I'm doing right now is tracing the size 18 in my stretch jeans pattern. And I'm only tracing it to the knee. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right, so I've got my front and back trace. The only other thing I need is the yoke. Is right here in the middle. I'm just going to trace the yoke up here really quickly. Okay. Okay. All right. just going to get rid of this pattern. Okay, I'll deal with that later. Okay. Whew, I'm sorry about that. Hi Dot, thank you for joining. All right, so today what I want to do is I'm going to try something a little bit different here. And let's work with the back first. Okay, so now I have a more reasonable thing here. What I'm going to do is establish my grain lines first. And to do that, I'm going to use my bigger grid ruler. Okay, so if you trace a pattern and you don't have a grain line, I'm going to show you how to make a grain line. Hi Yada, thank you for joining me from the Netherlands. I had someone from New Zealand in my serger class that I just taught a little bit ago. That was kind of fun. All right, let me measure. This is where the knee is, and I'm going to find the middle of that, which is right here. So that means my grain line goes straight up from there. And because I used the grid on the paper to line up with the grid on the printed pattern, I can find my middle down here and then go straight up. So this is my grain line. Okay. And then here's what I want to do. And this is where I think I'm going to try to deal with these wrinkles that we're getting. I'm going to mark my seam allowance here. There's a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. Okay. So right at the crotch, the true crotch point is right here. That's the stitching line. I'm going to draw a guide across the leg there. Okay, and I'm making it perpendicular to my grain line. Okay, so that's going to be my crotch level right there. So what I want to do, this is why I'm going to try to use this tape. Okay, I'm going to take this tape, and actually I was thinking I'm not going to tape it to the paper pattern. I have to actually cut out a fabric pattern. So let me get my grains on there, and then we'll figure out how to make a pants pattern for this. So I want this crotch level, okay, and then I also want to have I'm going to draw pretty close to my side seam. Maybe I'll make it even a little diagonal like this. I want to know what this length is from here to here. Oh, but minus my seam allowance. Okay. And then I also want to know what the full hip is. So I am going to do another line, but I'm going to do it like this. So I'm going to want to know what that is. So I've got my hip, my crotch level, and then I'm also going to do 2 inches down from crotch level for upper thigh. Okay, so this is where I'm going to put the tape on the actual muslin. Okay, grain line, upper thigh, crotch level, full hip, Now notice I drew the full hip so it was parallel to the waist, because when you sew it up, then it will be straight on the muslin. If you made this straight across here, it would make a V on your butt when you sewed it up. So that's why I did this parallel to the top of the pattern. All right, so in the front, we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to do full hip. Okay, again, I'm doing it parallel to the top of the pattern. I'm going to do the crotch level. So let me do my seam allowances here. So it's going to be right here. And then 2 inches below that for upper thigh. Okay, and then let's find the grain line. So my grain line's 10, this is 10 and a half, so I'm going to do 5 1/4. So there's my grain line. Oops, let me use. Okay. All right. Okay, so those are my pattern pieces. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly cut them out, if I can find my rotary cutter. Okay, so just going to cut this out. Cutting it right on the line because I'm just going to trace it onto my fabric. Oops. Okay. All right. There's my yoke. Okay. All right. Let me just cut this out. All right. Okay, so I'm going to use this very heavy, this is a heavy twill. I am going to use this to cut out my legs. Okay, and the whole purpose of this is I'm going to show you how I'm going to put this tape on. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to quickly cut out. Well, actually, I'm not going to cut it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trace it with a Sharpie, and then I'm going to draw lines on it. So let me just trace this. Okay, so to get my guides that I drew on the pattern, I'm going to use the ruler. So there's my knee. Here is my upper thigh. Here is my crotch level. And here is my full hip. Okay. Oh, and my grain line too. Okay. So see, now what I can do is I can just connect these lines. Like this. And then okay. All right, so there's my front. Let me just trace my back and then we'll get going with the tape. I just want to make sure I have enough room because I want to be able to add safety seam allowances onto the side seams. That's why I'm making sure I leave room. Okay. All right, so I'm sorry you're watching me prep this. Okay. Use my ruler up here. And my ruler down here. The green line. Green. Crotch. Upper thigh. And hip. Okay. So here's what I want to do. Okay. All right. Okay, so here's what I want. Isha wants to know, what are you using as a weight? If you're talking about this, these were actually bars from a Bernie Fields jeweler Armani sunglass display that was going out of business. The store was going out of business, so I took these and I use them for pattern weights. I absolutely love them. I have 3. I have a big one, and then I have a smaller one, but they're very good for big fabric pattern weight situations. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut off this extra fabric I don't need, and here's what I want to figure out, and here's where I think this tape is going to come into play. Now, the first thing I want to do is, I know I need to scoop my crotch because the person I'm working with has a low butt. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of do this. Okay, so I'm sort of making a lower crotch curve. That's the first thing I'm doing. And then what I want to do is draw another line a 1/2 inch below that, because when we sew the crotch at the 1/2 inch, so actually this line that I drew for the crotch point also will work as my line that I want for where the base of the curve is, because by the time I sew this, that's really close. So what I want to do is I'm going to mark my seam allowance here. This is 3/4 of an inch. No, this is a 1/2 inch over here. Well, these are just seam allowances I'm drawing. You know, and then this would just kind of do this. That's a seam allowance. And this is the seam allowance over here. Okay. Oh, and then seam allowance. Okay. All right, so I've blocked out the area that is going to be within the pant itself. Oh, Shy? Your name is pronounced Shy. Is that Shy like I? Oh, Aisha? Is it Aisha? I'm sorry, I want to pronounce your name correctly. Just tell me if Aisha is correct. Hi, Mary. What if the bum hangs lower than the crotch point? All right, Mary, this is for you because the woman I'm working with has her butt hangs lower than her crotch point. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this. That's why I scooped it down like this for a start. It may have to go lower. Matter of fact, it probably will have to go a little bit lower. But I don't want to make it too dramatic until I just want to get a good start point. Okay, so here's what I'm hoping. What's happening with this particular fitting issue is we're getting a wrinkle like right here. And I have tried every which way to Sunday to get rid of it. And it's the things I've tried have come really close, but I haven't gotten it to our liking. So here's what I want to try. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tape and I am going to put it, for example, I'm going to put it so it's right at the top at crotch level, right across the leg, like this. And I'm doing it from seam allowance to seam allowance. So once we hit a seam allowance, I'm stopping. Okay, so I've got one there. I'm also going to put it at the upper thigh level. Now, this is interesting. It's going, and it's still going. I'm wondering how, oh, it goes up to 36, and then it stops. Well, all right, so I'm going to take this part off. I'm going to start at 1 again over here. And I'm going to do the upper thigh. So the upper thigh, the back of it goes to 16 3/4. I'm going to put this over here for now. Okay, 16 3/4. But then I can start on my front and I can continue that, so it'll give us the final number, I guess. So there's a seam allowance, there's a seam allowance, and I'll put it upside down. So here is where that would start at 17. All right, so we know the upper thigh of this pattern is 28 and 5/8. So 28 and 5/8. Okay, that's the total measurement. That's kind of clever. Mary says you started at 1 inch, not before the inch. Yes, Mary, I did. Oh, oh, no. Oh, one. Oh, you're right. So this is actually one less. This is 27. 27. Okay. Good catch, Mary. But on my crotch level, I started at 1. So I'm going to take this back and I'm going to put it over here. And here's my, my seam allowance here. So I'm going to put it like this. Oh, let's do it this way. So at crotch level, my pants is at 30. The pattern's approximately 30. Okay. All right, so that will help me with that. Then the other place I want to do is going to be, I'll start at 1 again. We're going to do the full hip. So we'll start at 1. So this is 12.5. Then we'll continue that over here. Now over here at the center front, we've got the zipper seam allowance is 3/8 plus the regular allowance. So we've got 3/4 of an inch here. And we've got a 1/2 inch over here. Yes, I'm going to use the other piece for the front. I'm going to keep it going like this. So my front full hip on this is or actually half of my whole, so half of the whole full hip is going to be 24.25, we'll say. So it's 48. Okay, so that's 24.25, so it's 48.5 is the total amount. All right, so that's good. Then the next thing, here's where I'm really really interested, and this is what I'm going to do with this. Now at my crotch level here, I want to know what this is from here. Oh, actually, you know what we're going to have to do? I'm going to have to trace the yoke. What? Yeah. The key is in my vest pocket. What did I do with my yoke? Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Let me just trace my yoke right here for a second. Okay, so I also have mini pattern weights when I'm doing something small. Okay. Hi, Nilgun. Good night from Istanbul. Oh, I love that. So excited. All right. So I'm going to just make my my yoke right here. Okay, so there's my yoke. And I'm just going to put my seam allowance here. Seam allowance. And then I need the 3/4 inch seam allowance here. Okay, and I have a 1/2 inch here. Okay. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to know what this is. So this is like to 2 inches. Oh, wait a minute. 2 1/4 actually. And then I'm going to continue that right here. And I want to know what that is to where my crotch curve is. So I'm going to cut it off at 15. Okay. And then I want to know where it is in the center of the leg as well. So I'm going to measure from the center is, so that's 13 and a, we'll say that's 13 and a half. So that's 6 3/4. So that's going to be right here. 6 3/4 right here. So I'm gonna draw this one. I think we'll just have it go straight up like that. All right, so I'm gonna measure here. And then I'm going to have it measure here. All right, now here's what I'm hoping is going to happen. And I also want to measure, let me just finish. I also want to measure the side seam. To this crotch level. Okay. All right, so here's what I'm hoping. What I'm hoping is I am going to send this, I'm going to do the same thing in the front. I'm going to figure out what the front rise is to the crotch level. I'm going to do the center of the leg, and I'm going to do the side seam in the front as well. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out and sew this, and I'm going to send it to my student with the rest of this tape, because what I want her to do is to put this tape on her body wearing leggings as best as she can, because I want to compare what her actual body measurement is and then what the fabric is. And I'm not as concerned about my horizontal measurements as much as I am these 3 measurements right here, because I think what's happening is the wrinkles under the butt are being caused by something above the crotch curve not being the right shape. Okay, so if you have a wrinkle on your back leg over here, you know, you can't just pleat it and sew it and get rid of it and then get rid of it on the pattern. It'll just come back. So my theory is something up here is not the right length through this crotch curve. And if I could get the side seam to be the right length to this crotch level, and if I can get the middle of the leg to be the right length through the crotch level, then the fabric underneath the crotch level should hang properly and it shouldn't wrinkle. So that's just something to think in your head. Like if you're getting wrinkles on your back leg, it's probably because the fabric here is not the right length. Okay, so basically I'm gonna send it to her like this. I'm gonna sew it up, I'm gonna send it to her, and I'm gonna have her, like I said, stick the tape in these places along her legging clad body, I'm hoping. So we can compare her actual body measurements to this, what the pants are doing. Aisha says, do you think it would be helpful to put the center leg from the crotch line to the middle thigh to see how much length may need to be removed? Tape from this, from here, from the crotch line to the center of the leg. Is this what you mean, like right here? Because I can use this. That's why I put this here, so I can see like where things are hitting along here. Let me know if that's what you were thinking. But I think, you know, having these measurements on here, I guess visually would be helpful. But what will really help me is to see what it is, like what her actual figure is. Because it's hard to measure something like this because it's a curved measurement. These vertical measurements are the ones that I'm really interested in comparing between her body and the pattern. I meant add tape in the place from the center of the leg vertically. Oh, you mean also have it here? Do you mean put it like this, Aisha? Like all the way down straight along the grain line? Is that what you mean? Because I can do that too. I put it here because that's the middle of the crotch level. But I could, I guess, put it... See, I'm really of the mind that once you get down here, the only thing that happens down here for fitting is sometimes you have too much fabric hanging out on your side seam and it's creating diagonal pools because it's tight here but it's loose here. So I don't know, let me see. Yes, just put it from the crotch line. Oh, so from the crotch line down like this, do you mean? Is that what you mean? Well, I'm going to put it there. And I think I can go from 13 to 24. Because that we can just add up the numbers. So let's put it on the grain line. Oops. Okay, like this I'll put it. 13 to... Okay. Okay, and the other thing too is, the reason why I left a little extra at the bottom is when I cut this out, I'm going to add 2 inches past the knee too. All right, yeah, that's a good idea. So I've got it there, and I'll put it over here. Well, all right, I can use one of these random ones. Whoops. I can use this random one over here from the crotch line, just so we have it. Okay, so I bought this tape, nail gun. I bought this tape on the on Amazon. I just put in sticky measuring tape, and it came up, and it showed a picture. The picture was just this roll. Hi, Linda. Nice for you to join us. All right, Mary says, when you put the tape vertically like that, when your customer pinches out the excess, it would measure how much it is. Yes. Yes, I'm hoping that will help us measure how much she pinches. But again, I'm hoping we'll be able to find out the difference between her verticals from the crotch up and the pants verticals from the crotch up, because I think that's where the problem's happening. Okay, so I'm gonna, all right, so this is a little shorty here. Let me just do, and I think I'm only going to do one side. I'm not going to do both legs. I just want to get a general idea of her measurements. So I'm going to start here. I'm just going to come straight down to here. So that's almost 10. Okay. And then I'm going to do it in the middle. Just put it. Okay, so find my middle. My middle is, say 13. So again, that's 6 and 6 3/4. I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so 1/2 inch there. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. I got a little bit frustrated when my last attempt to fit her did not work perfectly, and so I'm missing something. So I am gonna figure it out. All right, so that's from 10 to, so that's 10.5 there, and then, you know, I think part of the issue is the side seam not being the right length above the crotch, or, you know, any of those parts. All right, so, and I promise I will keep you updated on what happens as well. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just mark my 1/2 inch here. Yada says, I did that too, but when removing the excess from my pattern sewing jeans, the back was too tight when I walked. Oh, well, that's, you know, that's the issue is, here's another issue. When you're removing wrinkles, you're going to have some wrinkle there, because you can't walk or sit or bend your knee without having extra length compared to when you're standing up straight. So there is that fine line, but I do think I'll be able to get rid of it in a way where she'll be able to walk. All right, so, okay, so see what I have here. I'll be able to compare my side seams, the center of the leg, the front rise, just the back straight part of the rise, you know, and I could use this down here to kind of get the crotch extension too, would be very similar to this. Let's see. The same frustration I have when I get the fit on one pattern and then work on a new pattern and have to start all over again. Yep, well, here's the thing, and here's my feeling on pants especially. Once you get a pants sloper that fits, like a non-stretch pants sloper, let's say, you can use that pants sloper to create other styles instead of starting with a brand new pattern, because once you get that crotch curve right, and you get all of these dimensions right, then you should be able to use it to design other styles. You know, and then of course, if you wanted to make a stretch pair, that would be another thing. But now we were working with stretch jeans. However, you can't use sticky tape on stretch fabric, so I'm going with this size because it agrees with her measurements to get onto her body. And the tape will stay on because it does not stretch. So that's the reason why I'm not using a stretch woven here, because you can't stick something that doesn't stretch onto something that does stretch and have it stay. So, Yeah. Oh, Aish, yeah. When you are done with this, I want to tell you my top I made with those drag lines coming down from my bust. They were there after I washed the top, but they go away when I raise my arms. Well, that's interesting. Okay. All right. So Mary made one of my original tees, and it has an above the bust seam. It has three pieces. There's a center, front, and two little side pieces, and then it's got a seam that goes across here. And she had some diagonal wrinkles. Um, so if you raised your arms and those, she had diagonal wrinkles just coming like they were coming like this, like coming down from her bust, like going off to the side. So I'm wondering if you raise your arm and it goes away, then maybe what you need to do is pull it up a little bit, shorten it here. So you're pulling it up to give yourself more room. Or maybe you need a small, I hate to say it, but maybe just a little more room in your bust so it doesn't do that. Because maybe it's creating those diagonal wrinkles because it's not, it fits around your bust, but there isn't enough room for it to drape nice. What do you think about that? Like if you shortened it here to pull it up. Let me know what you think about that, Mary. All right, so getting back to these pants, does anybody have any questions about this? I don't know if this is going to work because I haven't tried it yet, but I will keep you posted. And I forgot to tell my student that I'm working with that I was doing this, so of course I didn't even record it. Oh, she can watch it. She can watch it live later, I guess. I mean, she can watch the recording of it later. But I think this is going to be the way. I know. Well, maybe I know, but when you raise your arm, you're pulling up the fabric that's wider because it starts to flare. So I'm just wondering if you just had a little bit more room in there. You know, if you pull it up, see if you pin straight across if that fixes it. Because if it does, then you can just do that to your pattern and, move that seam up. Try pinch it above the bust seam and see if that fixes it. All right, so again, I'm not sure how this is going to work out exactly because I'm testing it, but I will keep you posted. I got this on Amazon. It was $11 and something cents. And I think there's like 100 yards here, or not 100 yards, but there's a lot on here. So you can start from one to whatever, as many times as you need. Because I did it several times and I still have a lot left. So that's what I wanted to show you today. I'm teaching all this weekend. If anyone's watching and they're taking any of my Stitches at Home classes, tomorrow I'm doing a really cool class on designing with denim. I'm going to show you how to take jeans apart and make all sorts of stuff with it. It's just a 2-hour class, so we're not going to be sewing or making the garments. We're just going to be deconstructing and planning what we're going to sew. I think that's going to be a fun class. And then on Sunday, I'm doing my Easy Fit and Sew tee or tunic, which is also a fun class. So that's what I'll be doing this weekend. I hope you guys have some fun things planned for the weekend. And I will keep you posted on this tape measure idea. And Mary is going to keep me posted on her tee. And if anybody else has questions about, fitting their pants, please let me know and I will help you. When Mary says, I use that same tape and put it down on my sewing room table and use it for measuring things. Oh, yes. I may actually, Mary, put some of this on my cutting mat because I can't really see my tape measure underneath. So I might actually use a piece to measure with as well. That's a good idea. Dot says, are you teaching for Sew Expo? I am teaching my Easy Fit and Sew yoga pants, and actually it's sold out. So there's a class of 30. So they offered a second class on the 25th. So I'm teaching the 24th, and now I'm teaching the 25th. I have sent out like 54 kits, so there's only six kits left, and I can't tell. I think a couple people might have just ordered the pattern and not the fabric, so I'm really not sure if there's space in there. Um, if you want to, if you sign up for it today, I'm sending out the kits priority, but you'd have to check with them and see if there's space, because there was 44 people on the waiting list, so I don't know if there's space. But you can certainly check with them, and if that Easy Fit and Sew yoga pants class is full, you could still order the fabric and the pattern, and I have a complete class on my YouTube that shows how to do it, and I can help you on the side. So either way, making the yoga pants I can help you with. Yep, the 25th. It's going to be on 4 to 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the 25th. That's the second class that there may be room for, but I can't promise that there's room because, like I said, I didn't send 60 kits out, so there may be a couple spaces. All right, so that's my report for today. I have to admit I'm a little pooped because I had to prep for the class and then hurry up and get off. Oh, hi, Anne. You forgot I was coming on. Well, I wasn't gonna actually. I actually taught from 11 to 1, and I was just gonna cancel this, but I really enjoy coming on and helping or showing you guys what I'm working on. So you can go back and watch. I showed how to use sticky measuring tape on a pants muslin that I'm going to send to a client I'm working with. And I'm going to send her the tape, and I'm going to have her stick it on her body in similar places so I can compare her shape to what's going on with the pattern, because we have one little pesky wrinkle that won't go away. Dot says, I have to work, but maybe home. Well, the class is from, I just know, because it's all Pacific Standard Times on the Sew Expo website. So I think it was whatever. So if it was 4, it was probably 1 to 4 Pacific Standard Time. But I'm in the East Coast, so I'll be teaching it from 4 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. So I guess it depends on where you live and what, you know, it depends on where you live. Okay. All right. So if you have any other questions about that, please let me know. And like I said, if you need help with your pants, I am having Pants on the Brain. I'm teaching a jeans fitting class Wednesday nights for Master of the Art of Sewing for the rest of the month on Wednesday nights. And so I'm really, and I'm working with a couple pants students too. So I really have pants on my brain right now. So it's a good time to ask. Oh, Dot's in Pittsburgh. All right. So it will be 4 o'clock, 4 to 8. And actually, if you can't get to the class exactly on time, it's okay, because at the beginning of the class, we're just going to be measuring and making sure people don't need to add to their pattern. So there'll be a little bit of wiggle room in the beginning of the class. All right, so yay. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you. Last week, I promised I was going to do on my Bernina on my Bernina 460 serger manual that I do on Sundays. I said I was going to do the difference between cutting width and seam allowance. And then when I went to shoot the video, I realized it'd be helpful if people knew how to thread the serger before I showed that. So I didn't do it last week. So that's actually going to be the topic for this Sunday. So if you're following along with my new series, the Bernina L460 serger manual, that launches on noon on Sundays, Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be the difference between cutting width and seam allowance this week. So I said I was going to do that last week, and then I realized I was jumping the gun on that. So anyway, that's my report. I thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next week with another fun Fit Tip Tuesday video, and then I don't know if I'll be able to update you on this yet because it depends on when my student gets it and tries it and we see what happens. But I will have an episode coming up in the future to update you on how this is working because I have high hopes for it. But in any case, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a nice weekend. Happy Super Bowl if you're into that. And I will see you next week. So thank you very much, and I'm signing off. Bye bye.